Hello, and thank you for stopping by to yet another edition of the Massachusetts Whiskey Reviews program here on YouTube. My name is Thomas Metal 75, and this is your Massachusetts Whiskey Reviews. And a special shout out in this particular review to fellow YouTuber East Coast LQ Reviews, Mr. Tanner out there in Rhode Island. I gave him a sample of this bourbon, and he was asking his viewers at the end of his review to go and check out my review that I never posted. So I'm getting to this today as of Martin Luther King Day, MLK Day, here in America on the 19th of January, 2026. And this bourbon comes courtesy of the Peerless Distilling Company of Louisville, Kentucky. This is their Peerless Double Oak Bourbon, Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. And this is their batch 17, which comes in at 109 proof, 54.5% ABV. Mash bill is undisclosed. They say on the back of the bottling, non-chill filtered, strictly sweet mash, no water added, barrel proof. And this is coming from DSP KY-50. Double oak. Bourbon whiskey, twice barreled in new oak. We do not know the mash bill from Peerless. We do not know the amount of age, but it has to be at least 2 years for it to be a straight bourbon whiskey. And 4 years if they do not mention any other time frame for aging on the bottle. All right, so we are going to put it in a Spiegelau whiskey glass today, and we're going to put the Peerless Double Oak Bourbon, as we do with every other distillate review on this channel, through the 6-point rating scale to help round out to your overall 100-point rating. Grand total of 10 points each go to the looks and aesthetics, as well as the value, and up to 20 points each for aroma, taste, mouthfeel, and finish. So without further ado, let's crack open the Peerless Double Oak Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey, see what she's all about. Synthetic cork. Really nice design on that cork. Really nice beefy stout cork. All right, let's pour it into the Spiegelau whiskey glass. All right. And here is the Peerless Double Oak Bourbon, which also comes in a rye, which is much harder to find these days than the bourbon. This cost, I believe, $84.99, that $85 price point. Locally to me, when I saw it on a local liquor store website, I had to run down there and get it. Nice legs. Awfully good looking whiskey. It's got a nice dark amber color to it. Nice legs, as you can see. The bottling is so peerless to its design and nature. Looks like a barrel. I do like that they tell you sweet mash and no water added at barrel proof and non-chill filtered. Nice looking bourbon. I got to give that at least, you know what? I may just give that a 9 out of 10. And let's get a nosing, shall we, on the Peerless Double Oak Bourbon, 109 proof, batch 17. There's some proof in ethanol. There's a nice dried fruit element in the bourbon. There's a nice dark chocolatey note in the bourbon, some vanilla creams and custard notes. Perhaps cinnamon, baking spice, doughy cinnamon roll kind of note. There's almost a little bit of a floral component. Not really getting a lot out of the nose right now. Let me see as we go if the bouquet opens up. Let's give it a taste. Peerless Double Oak Bourbon. Cheers, everybody. Some proof, some spice. I definitely got something akin to floral at this point. Dark chocolate. A dried orange or apricot-y kind of a note maybe towards the finish. A toffee note maybe. Yeah, that dried fruit and the toffee, apricot kind of note in there. Dark chocolate, those cinnamon baking spices. Right now, it's not a super long finish of a bourbon. There's definitely a tobacco-y kind of a sweet tobacco-y kind of a note to this one. This particular bourbon, for me, is not super sweet or anything like that. It's not cloying on the sugary side, but there is some sweetness and there is some vanilla cream kind of notes. They're darker flavors altogether. So if you like darker chocolate and bourbon, yeah, this is going to be a good one for you, I think. A touch of a maple, maybe. Yeah, maybe there's a touch of a maple there. There's a bit of an astringency towards the finish. There's a little bit of a bittering slash char kind of an element to the bourbon. I mean, they did put it in another oak barrel. Not sure what the process there is. Finish. Let's talk about that. Or you know what? Let's talk about the mouthfeel here. The mouthfeel. Oh yeah, there's that sugary kind of a bite there with the darker tobacco and dried fruit notes and some vanilla. Finish is, it's long, it's drying, it's woodsy, or woody from the barrel, I guess is what I mean to say. There's definitely the presence of the secondary oaking, for sure, for the double oak. In that, a little bit of bitterness as it goes down. Not too much of that, but there's a little bit of that. It's warming in the chest. I would say it's is it like a medium or medium plus kind of a bourbon? I don't think that it is oily. I wouldn't say this is the most thick, viscous bourbon on the market, but it's definitely got a nice oily complexion, and it's certainly coating the palate. I'm kind of wishing, as much as I really do like this bourbon here, I'm kind of wishing there was some more complexities going on, and I'm able to pull, more notes out of this than I'm getting right now. Oh yeah, then I just got the cinnamon sugar kind of note there. But definitely darker, medium plus, definitely. But definitely darker fruit notes, or sorry, just darker baking spice, tobacco-y kind of notes in this one. A little bit of that dark chocolate, or maybe a lot of that dark chocolate showing up. Cinnamon sugar, baking spices, cinnamon, your dried apricots, or orangey kind of fruit notes. At this point in time, I'm definitely getting that secondary oak, some definite char on the side of almost smoky in a way. So, and what else could I give you for notes? Yeah, it's like an earthy kind of a taste or a finish. Interesting. So for aromas out of 20, I get a lot of oak on this one. This is very oak, double oak forward. I like that. Maybe not my favorite nosing on the face of the planet Earth. I would like the double oaking to be more on the sweeter, dark chocolatier side than just plain oak and char. But I'll give that a 17 on the aroma. That taste is just of a darker nature. Not as bright and fruity and citrusy and stewed fruits. Maybe they're overly stewed, perhaps. The double oaking certainly is the star of the show, as one would expect it to be. I'm going to give that also a 17. And mouthfeel's real nice. It's got a real thick, chewy nature to it. Not the most syrupy sweet, or not syrupy sweet, but not the most syrupy or oily mouthfeel. But I think it's probably the best aspect to the whiskey. I'll give that an 18 out of 20. And the finish is definitely interesting. There's a little drop left. Oak, tobacco, richness, a little bit of astringency, which isn't necessarily my cup of tea. So the astringent bitter side of things. So I'm going to give that a 17, but for what's going on, it does linger. Value. So we're about the 85-ish dollar range. This is between 85 and 90 most of the time, I think. I would be interested in trying the double oak rye. Most people seem to like that better than this bourbon. So for 85 that I paid for it, out of 10, I think I want to give it a 7, maybe? Yeah, let's go with the 7. So we have 9 for looks and aesthetics, 17 for aroma, 17 for taste, 18 for mouthfeel, 17 for finish, and a 7 for the taste. Today, batch 17 of Peerless Double Oak Bourbon Whiskey will get on the 6-point rating scale an 85 out of 100. And I think it's a pretty good rating, honestly. You need to like the darker chocolatey notes and those dark tobacco notes too to really like this one, and that woody, oaky flavor of the secondary barreling to find this one appealing to your taste buds. So if you had the Peerless Double Oaked, what's your experience with that particular whiskey? Thank you to Tanner of the East Coast LQ Reviews channel of YouTube for reminding me this whiskey needed to be examined on this channel and reviewed. And until next time, keep tasting those great whiskeys. Cheers, and I'll see you soon.